This is a Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. What's going on, Sham?
You know, daylight savings is what's going on, and I'm a little irritated that I lost an hour fooling around with.
Why are you irritated?
I needed that hour. I didn't get enough sleep last night. How you doing, Shaka?
I'm good, man. I've been monitoring my sleep, trying to get a certain amount of hours, and I gave myself too much credit this morning. And then the phone was like, no, you got one less hour than you thought.
See, you know what I'm saying? Daylight saving, ruining lives everywhere.
Nah, I didn't ruin life, though. It was beautiful today, though. But yeah, so we're approaching the solstice.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to be spring.
Is it, though? Because I don't know if spring still happens.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but
past few years it was cold and then boom, it was hot. Like spring got lost in the sauce.
Mm-hmm. Nah,
I honestly feel like there's only 3 seasons. It's winter, summer, and fall. Like spring don't get hits like that no more.
Oh, I don't know about that. This spring's gonna be spectacular. Sham, I'm gonna just say right now, I'm getting vaxxed this week.
Woohoo! Congrats!
I'm very excited
for you because the listeners of this show are like, please let this boy get vaxxed because he is mad.
Yeah, big mad. I was on social media and all that. Like, give me my shot now. And I'm getting the 2 shots. So second one will be in 3 weeks. But I'm very excited.
So that was going to be my question, whether you were getting the 1 dose or the 2 dose vaccine. Do you know if it will be Moderna or Pfizer?
It's Pfizer. Yeah.
All right.
They told me. Yeah.
I was able to get my dad scheduled for his vaccination. He is going in on Wednesday morning, and they let us schedule the 2 shots at one time. So he's scheduled exactly 3 weeks apart from the day that he's getting the first one.
That's awesome.
So he is also getting Pfizer. Mm-hmm. I like that where the place that I did the scheduling, I like that they show you which vaccine you're getting depending on the location that you go to. So you know ahead of time which you want to choose. At this point in time, it all had Pfizer, so he was going to get whatever, but he didn't care. He just wanted to get it done. So I'm glad to be able to.
I'm with him.
Wednesday morning. I also got one of my friends scheduled. And surprise, folks, Sham got the vax.
Sham already got the vax.
I already got the vax. I got it on Monday.
Yeah.
1 dose.
Yeah.
J&J Janssen. So I'm done. I have 7 more days before I am fully vaccinated, according to the CDC.
Awesome.
So, and I wanted to let everybody know, because I know we talked about my indecision about it and how I felt, and you felt very strongly that it didn't matter. You won't get it, but and I kind of went back and forth. I thought about it. I played it a few times in my head, prayed about it, and so I just went ahead and I said, if I get I decided one day, I said, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to do it. So I did. Ended up being the J&J vaccine, one and done. Like I told you, like a Kentucky All-American, one and done.
John Calipari, who was with you. That's awesome.
All-American up in here, one and done.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm very excited that you will be getting that as well.
And for our listeners' sake, I'm glad you said it like that. And you and I talked a little bit before the show, and we've been talking. I think most of our listeners would be closer to where you are in this, where you have to make a decision and you're trying to figure out what's the best thing for you, and then you weigh all the options, and then if you have the opportunity, you take it. And I know I've been a little obtuse about this. I have. And this is one of those situations, kind of like we were talking about, like how I am on social media and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm gonna just put this out there. I'm being very obtuse about this. I am, and I know I am, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy you got it. And I try to be open-minded about things in general. I do try, but on this one, I've decidedly not been open-minded.
No.
and I won't.
You've been marching on Washington for this.
And I won't. And I won't. And it's one of those things, like, I'm happy to have a discussion with anybody who wants to have a discussion. And that's it. But I'm just so happy you've gotten it, and I'm so happy I'm gonna get it. And we're not out of the woods yet. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about all that stuff. But I just don't want people to get left behind. That's all. And now I know we won't be. Now we could keep doing the podcast. So,
yep. And we'll wait and see if I grow a third leg or a tail or something, which I don't understand why people say this. When has this ever happened to a person? At what point in vaccination history has anyone grown an extra limb or grown a tail?
I mean, I was laughing so hard. Is that a thing?
That's what I'm saying. That? Like, why are people saying this? Like, several people have said this. Like,
oh man, yeah, growing an extra limb.
Where's the precedent? Where's the point of reference that this has ever happened?
If somebody grows an extra limb, holler at me. I will apologize on this podcast for that. If that happens, you guys are watching movies.
Like, what are we doing?
And that sounds like a B movie plot. Not even a real movie.
Heard this from people more than one occasion. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Why do you think people gonna be growing extra body parts from getting vaccinated?
Yikes.
Oh gosh.
But but it's good times though. I in general, you and I were talking, the statistics are looking very good. I mean, not even to make it a story because it's local and it applies to us. We were just talking now, the governor of Maryland, Hulk Hogan, he has opened everything back up. Everything. Boom.
Yeah, he tried it.
Yeah. we were talking trash about Texas. And I mean, the only difference, and he's stressed that the difference is that everyone will still have to mask up. Well, what we like, Sam, is when the governor says something, but then the county executives and the mayors and all that are like, yeah, that's great.
Nah, it's cool and all, but we're going to keep doing this. Like Baltimore City was like, no, we're staying at 50%, but thanks.
PG County was like, and you know what? I like the statements that a lot of the people made too. They were like, first of all, this is, we heard about it when you heard about it. When somebody says that, they're mad.
Wait, the governor just went on TV and said what?
Yeah. So he just went on TV. So you're asking me something. You're asking me my response to something that I didn't even know about because he didn't have the common courtesy to tell me. But so that tells you all you need to know about how I feel about it right there. Right. I'll give you a comment tomorrow. But spoiler alert, when I'm with him.
Right. Like all the counties were like, yeah, okay, that's cute.
So, yeah. So I mean, that's really, I mean, been the big thing locally. Lately has been that 100% capacity, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out. You got your friends. You have more friends in Maryland than I do, but I mean, what this means for schools, what this means for, I mean, everything for them. Have they said anything?
I mean, I didn't even know. Apparently, school is open. I didn't even know it was open. Like, I was driving the other day and I saw school buses. I was like, "Wait, why are y'all out here?" I missed that memo. Clearly, but kids are back in school. At least in my immediate area, I know that much. So God bless them.
Yeah,
because you got to be at least 16 to get vaccinated. So
I couldn't even imagine going to school. When we talk about like social media and cell phones, I mean, cell phones were just starting. We were talking about pages before, but social media was like nowhere near in existence when we were in school.
It was an exclusive club.
Right. I couldn't even imagine that. But like this situation in high school, man, these kids, they're going to have a story to tell and then some. Yeah, definitely. You want to tell the people where they can find us because of social media?
Well, I was wondering if you were going to see. This is one of the weeks where I was hoping you would say, "Is it Sham story time?"
You got a story? Tell us a story right now, please. So,
okay, the story ends with I fell out of my car while I was moving. So let's run back.
That's a 90s movie. I guess you're wondering how I got here. How the 90s movie starts.
Okay, so I'm in my car at home, leaving my parking spot, and I'm driving to the end of the court towards the stop sign before you get to the main road. So I press on the gas, and my car is such that when you tap the gas, it kind of goes. And it didn't go very fast, probably around 20 miles an hour. You know, neighborhood speed is like 25. So I tap it and I'm going and I take my foot off and I'm about to slow down. And one of the ladies in the neighborhood, I'm assuming she lives here, she yells at my car, slow down.
Now, where was she?
She was standing. First of all, she was standing in the road. What is this thing about people standing in the road instead of on the sidewalk? Have you noticed that people like to walk in the street, in the road, instead of on the sidewalk?
I didn't notice that. That's why I was like, what thing is this? So
maybe it's a Anne Arundel County, Maryland. I don't know. Okay. But a lot of people, instead of walking on sidewalks, they walk in the street. I don't understand that concept, and then get mad that a car is coming down the street. But anyway, so she yells at the car, slow down. So me being who I am and not listening to anything that my mom has ever taught me, I slowed my car down in an effort to get out and check this chick for coming at me, yelling at my car.
So you were driving, she yelled, you stopped the car and got out?
Well, see, this is where it went awry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't interrupt anymore because this is where it gets crucial.
So I jam on my brakes. I slide my gear shift towards the park button, towards the park position. And then I open the door, at which point she says again, I said, slow down, right? I step out of the car. And as soon as my left foot hits the pavement, I fall to the ground and I roll over. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Once I realize I'm okay, I notice that my car is still moving down the street. So I never actually put the car in park. I didn't make it all the way to park. The car was still rolling. So I get up, run to my car, open the door, jump in off of 2 feet, land in the seat, hit my brake, and put it in park just before it hits the cross street. Mind you, on the cross street, a police officer is coming. So had I not been able to catch up to my car and stop it, my car would have gone right into the cross street and the police car would have run into it.
T-boned him.
Yep.
I mean, me saying that just now is me putting my mouth back, lifting my mouth back off the floor in this story. Like, I'm speechless. I don't even know where to begin.
There's nowhere to begin. First of all, it's after all that happened, I jumped in the car and I got to the car before I got to the stop sign. So I got to the stop sign, pressed the car, put the car, I stopped and waited. And then I drove off and continued as if nothing had happened. But while I'm sitting, I'm like, yo, you literally tried to check this chick and you fell out the car while it was still moving. You are so lucky that you were able to catch the car from going out into the street. And then I think about how my mom used to say to me all the time, you're going to stop getting out your car when people say stuff to you. Sometimes you just need to calm yourself down. So I knew that was nobody but Corrine Henrietta Boston from beyond that made that happen.
Yeah. Miss Boston, you know what? You just said everything I want to say. Right there. Like, it was that important to you to get out of a moving car?
I didn't know it was moving.
It doesn't matter. What were you going to do when you got out?
I was going to tell her to mind her damn business and go and walk on the sidewalk instead of in the street, so she wouldn't have to worry about how fast I was going.
That statement couldn't have been made from within the car?
Oh no, I don't yell. I don't yell back at people. I need them to hear me. I need them to hear me. Miss
Boston saved you.
But what was crazy? But obviously that's a crazy story, and I'm lucky that it wasn't worse than that. I hit the pavement, my elbow hurt a little bit. It wasn't nothing like serious that happened. But what was running through my mind is, and I see people do this a lot, like not even just at my car, like when you're not inside the car, you're only assuming that somebody is going like a particular speed or whatever. Like if you're standing and the car is moving, you don't really know. So I think I've been behind other people when this has happened, and I've looked down at my speed and been like, yo, we're going like 25, like chill the fuck out. Like,
you've been behind people when they got out the car?
What? No, I'm talking about the assumption of speed.
Got you.
If you are standing on a sidewalk and a car goes past you, Cars always seem like they're going faster than they actually are because you're not in it.
Correct.
So when she actually yelled that to me, I wasn't speeding, which is really what kind of pissed me off in the first place. You're yelling at me to slow down when I'm only going 20 miles an hour. That's what really irritated me, because you don't know what you're talking about. So that's why I wanted to get out the car. But then I got out the car, rolled over and embarrassed myself, got back in the car and rolled out. I said, you know what? It wasn't supposed to happen. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, you said everything I want to say.
Oh, look, this was on Monday. Today is Sunday. This has been thought about, analyzed, rehashed, laughed about. I've been chastised. Look, America, Sham, is crazy sometimes. Look.
I don't need that anything. Go on that. Sham, why every time we take Maria Taylor on, she on right now?
Because she has a job.
Clippers and
on
Pelicans
a national sports, worldwide sports network.
Nah, Clippers and Pelicans are playing on ESPN. So
and it's basketball season.
Yeah, it's halftime.
Lots of reasons why she would be on when we.
Yeah, that was very rhetorical. Trust me, I love it. I'm glad she's on. But she and Paul Pierce are on. But Sham, that's one of them times. I don't say I'm sorry that happened to you. Just I'm sorry that happened. Period.
Yeah, I deserved every moment of that. That was.
You want to tell the people where they can find us now? Or you got another story?
Yes, I do actually. No, you can find us on www.stopplayinpodcast.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you will see all the platforms that we are available on. Please pick the one that you prefer. Most notably, we were on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at The Stop Playing Podcast and on Twitter at Stop_Playing Pod, and visit our YouTube channel at The Stop Playing Podcast.
Excellent. So we've talked about our weeks. It's been a busy week in the news, as they all are. Sham, the biggest news of the week, the Stimmy, as it's called. Have you been hearing people call it that?
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends called it Uncle Joe's Stimmy. I'm like, okay. But the stimulus, we've been talking about it for a few episodes now because it's been going through stages. It go to the Senate, it go to the House, and it was kind of ping-ponging because of budget reconciliation. But it finally got passed officially. So, and from what I understand, I haven't got mine yet, but I know at least one person who's gotten it. So, and I've seen people on social media saying that they've already gotten it. Direct deposit, what have you. So, and he did say it should start rolling out this week. So it'll be $1,400 there. Now, a couple other things. I mean, the big thing was, the minimum wage. That didn't happen. We talked about that.
We kind of knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. And then the Republicans in general, Mitch McConnell made a point to say, things are turning around and the vaccinations are going out and the economy's picking them back up, but we don't want Joe Biden to get credit for it. They literally said this out loud.
At least they are transparent.
They're being very transparent about the fact that we're just haters. Like, we just want to hate.
Might as well just own it.
Yeah, they were like, everything was turning around before Joe Biden came in. So I hope people don't take this stimulus and say that it turned the country around. It's like, well, nobody's saying that, but whatever. So, so between that was story number one. Did you watch The Address the other night? Uncle POTUS?
I did watch the back end of it. Didn't see it from the beginning.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. It was maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it ran into my Grey's Anatomy and Station 19.
You like, get this off. Well, the big thing about it, because at first I wasn't going to watch it because I was like, whatever. I mean, it's fine. But then I'm glad I did, because really the big thing was he started making promises.
He did.
So the big thing was he was like, look, by May the 1st, anybody who wants a vaccine should be able to get it. And then the big thing, I mean, he had a couple of little benchmarks, but The big thing was like, if this rolls out the way it's supposed to and everyone does what they're supposed to, by 4th of July, people should be able to get together, have cookouts, stuff like that. And almost like a return to normal. Now, Psaki came out the very next day and was like, let's pump the brakes and clarify what he was saying. What he was saying was, yes, families can get together, but no, we're not trying to have everyone in stadiums and stuff by July the 4th. This is what Uncle Joe has been running into. His administration will come out and make a promise, and then they immediately have to come out and kind of like walk it back. They need to learn the message a little better. If you're not prepared to follow through on something, don't say it. That being said, I understand what he's saying and what they're trying to say. So that was the big thing. That was the big news this week, and people were excited. And Sham, Black people, our people, who I love dearly. The big civil war on social media this week was the public shaming of people who are excited about getting the stimulus check. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
So there are people who, and I'm one of them. I don't care. I mean, whatever. $1,400.
Free money.
Exactly. And there were people that were coming on there like, oh, why y'all excited about this? Y'all must not have savings. Y'all must not. And it's like, what are y'all talking about?
It's thousands, millions of people without jobs, and you talk about y'all must don't have savings. Like, shut up. People are so insensitive and stupid.
Well, not only they're insensitive and stupid, but they're hypocritical.
Yeah, because they're going to get it too. What they going to do, send it back?
And they're waiting for it. Exactly, and they're trying to sound like hoteps. They're trying to sound like hoteps who try, give investment advice.
Right.
Yeah, if y'all really knew how to manage money. First of all, you're waiting on pins and needles for this check, like everybody else. Stop. Like, stop it.
No, they ain't, because they probably not gonna get it. And they mad.
Or you're not gonna get it.
They outside of the bracket.
You're probably getting audited. Right. So stop.
You mad because you only make too much money and the government don't want to give you no handout.
or you in trouble, and that's why you're not getting it. And you're hating on everybody else who is getting it. So stop. Yeah. But so that's been the big thing this week. Now, the other big thing for Uncle Joe, Uncle POTUS, has been immigration. Now, I like how I sort of like how they're handling this. So the big story is that since Joe Biden has come into office, there's been a big uptick in migration to the border. And look, a lot of them are straight up saying, we started coming now that there's a new president, because we know that the former one was tripping. That being said, they still can't be just let in, as before. Immigration has always been a horrible issue, a complicated issue. And
it will remain a complicated
and it will
issue
always
forever.
But one thing I like that he did, because what was happening was they didn't have enough facilities down at the border states, Arizona, Texas, all those places, to house the parents and the children. Now, they weren't doing what 45 was doing, which was separating them and spreading them out and doing all that.
Unnecessary.
Right. But they are still in the camps. And the conditions down there were bad and stuff and it is becoming a crisis. Politically, they didn't want to use the word crisis because they being Biden's administration, didn't want to seem like they were mishandling it. But at the same time, it has to be dealt with. I do like that he sent FEMA down there and treated it like it is. It's an emergency. It's not a new emergency, but it needs to be, scrutinized and dealt with like that. And so what they're trying to do is, build more facilities, try to figure out what to do with these families, make the process of determining their eligibility, whether it be asylum or whatever, a little bit faster, whatever it is. It's a complicated issue, but they have to house them and be humanitarian about it. So, but he's been kind of taking a beating. People like Ted Cruz are getting on social media trying to shame him about this. And it's like, stop. So that's been Uncle Joe's week. But again, Sham, it's just good to have a president who don't come out and say something crazy all the time. Even though he does look like he wants to go to sleep half the time. Uncle Joe's old, man. It is what it is.
He could just be sleepy. Shoot. Doing a lot.
but Kamala, man, she be coming out. She be holding it down too. So, yeah, it's been good to see at least people come out, hit a crisis head on. So I'll take what I can get in that respect. Now, Republicans, besides hating on that, voter suppression, Shane. This is their big thing. In at least 43 states, there have been laws within the state legislature to make voting more difficult. This has been a big push all week. It's been a united effort. I was watching the Sunday shows today. So today's Sunday, March 14th. I was watching State of the Union, Meet the Press, all that stuff. And Stacey Abrams was on, and she was talking about it. She was talking about Georgia, but it's happening everywhere. They're trying to make laws to tighten up the hours. They're trying to shorten the hours. They're trying to eliminate precincts, all of that stuff, because of what they, being the Republicans and GOP in these states, are saying is voting fraud. So this is their big push.
Fraud has to be proven, though.
Exactly. And this is exactly. And yeah, well, you would think so, but
first of all, y'all need to prove that there is actual fraud, and then that would make sense. But who knows? I just live here.
Yeah, and they're getting prepared for 2022. They want to suppress votes so that they can make it easy to take over both local and national elections. So that's what's happening. And if we don't keep an eye on it, they will succeed. So that's that. Now, another big thing that happened this week, and it's kind of a throwback. Officer Chauvin, the officer who murdered George Floyd, his trial started this week. So jury selection. Have you been following this?
Yeah, the jury selection actually just started. I have been kind of lightweight following it. I mean, it right now it's not much. He's been charged. He hasn't been convicted yet. But the jury selection is important because you want to make sure that the jury, and this is the job of attorneys, and I'm sure you know this, but for those of you who don't, attorneys they're picking people based on a certain makeup that they want to have for the jury. So you want to have people, you may not want to have an older white person on the jury because they may side with the police, or you may not want to have too many, or you may want mothers on the jury because they can sympathize with the family that lost their son or family member. You want, there's certain personality types and demographics that you want to have a good mix of on the jury to try to keep it as fair as possible. But depending on, what what the prosecutor and the defense attorney have discussed, if they're working together and they're in cahoots, you could have a jury full of white men and former police officers or something crazy like that to make it sway a certain way. So this is why jury selection is important, and you want to try to make it fair and as equitable as you can. So I am interested in what that jury looks like at the end of the first couple of days.
Absolutely. And, the county that this is all taking place in is a very majority white county. And that was being talked about before. Now, I saw this earlier today, so you may have a little bit more updated information than even I do. But from what I understand, 6 of the 12 have been selected. And they gave a breakdown of the 6. And I believe there's 1 black person, 3 white people, and 2 Hispanic people, from what I understand.
So they have half white and half brown, pretty much.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that, look, I've seen cases, high-profile cases where they give a breakdown. I've never seen it given this early before the whole panel was even selected. I'm a little surprised at that, but it is what it is. But
I think because the magnitude of this case, I think they really want people to know that they're trying to be fair by picking who they pick. Like they're trying to show, okay, well, we're not just going to go out here and try to pick like middle-aged white people, or you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what they're doing. But you're right. They normally don't do that. So, but they still have 8 more people to pick because they need 12 jurors and some
alternates. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll watch it. And then what's been interesting is as this has been unfolding, all of a sudden, then I see the news last night, a settlement's been reached with the Floyd family from the city of Minneapolis, I guess. $27 million.
Yeah, that's the largest ever.
Yeah. You know, you can't put a value on somebody's life. And, you know, he had children, you know, his mother's alive, his brother, all that stuff. But to your point, right. I mean, that's a huge amount of money. They want to send a message. But that being said, it just always feels like a salty taste when it's like, yeah, we're paying money as we're trying to mete out the actual justice. It had been a while since I saw that tape. They played that tape again or the recording of his death the other day. And it's one of those things, man, it had been a while since I saw that. And that will never be easy to watch. Yeah. Ever.
I went on CNN.com to just kind of like, refresh on what's been happening during the week with the charges and the jury selection. And they played the video on CNN because, they show videos. It popped up and I was like, oh, let me close it.
And I think both of us probably are thinking of this, but we've been meaning to get to it before we move on. The other important thing about the case was that initially there were a couple charges, but the 3rd-degree murder charge have been dropped. And there was a big thing this week about whether Officer Chauvin, amongst other things, will be charged with 3rd-degree murder. Now a judge ruled on it, and it has been readmitted into his charges. So that will be added on there. And it was important. It was important to litigate that. Yeah. Because that had, and then finally, I'm sorry. The reason that was important was because he was going to plead guilty. I didn't know this. He was going to plead guilty last year when it first came up, but then the feds jumped in. So he was going to plead guilty to the state charges, but then the feds jumped in and was going to, make it a hate crime or whatever. And because of that, he didn't. And when they dropped the 3rd-degree murder charge, all of that went off the table. Now that they're readmitting it, it's now a question of, okay, he still does not want it to be pursued federally. So if they readmit it, will the feds jump back in, make it a federal case, or allow him to plead guilty? So that's now on the table. That was the big important thing about all of that. But the fact that he was going to plead guilty is like, all right, well, hey.
There's a video out there. That's all you do.
He's like, there's no way out of this.
What are we doing out here?
Yeah, no way out of this. Yeah. And you better get ISO in prison because you might be the most infamous white man on earth right now. Yeah. But so those have been kind of big news stories. And then Sham, we have a couple little updates. Let's see. All right. This is Sham. You and I on this show have said we are invested in the Royals, correct?
The Royals? Over in London, in Buckingham. Those Royals?
You know what? You should tell the story you told me, but you can say that for another time. Maybe next week. We'll say that one next week. It
was a story-filled week.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that until you just did that. But okay, so those are the serious stories. But man, the way this story was set up, you would have thought this was the biggest news of the universe this week. So we got Megxit.
A lot of folks were butthurt, specifically over across the pond. But look, everybody knows by now that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry went on and sat with Oprah. It was on CBS. They re-aired it this past Friday. So it was on two weeks in a row. And there were a lot of opinions about what Meghan Markle was going through as the Duchess of York. No, that's someone else. Sussex. In her time over there. Interestingly, when they were sitting down, I saw most of it when Harry came in and sat down. I saw a little bit when it was just one-on-one, Meghan and Oprah, but most of what I saw was when Harry came in and sat down next to her.
Okay.
And I kind of felt this, but I'm glad that he confirmed it. It did seem like when they had gotten married and when they were first together, that she was welcomed with open arms into the culture, into the family, into the palace. Like, it just didn't look like it would end where we are.
Yeah.
And they talked about how everyone thought that she did the job and took the role like gracefully. She was just beautiful and perfect when they would travel the world and visit places. Apparently it was when they visited Australia, and she did like astoundingly well. Like, she was like, oh my gosh, she represented the family too well, because after that there started to become a lot of like, and he used the word vitriol towards her after that. Okay. So she shined maybe a little too brightly.
That's so crazy.
And then things started to just take a turn. Yeah, that is crazy. Like, how can somebody be too good?
Can't win. Like, if she hadn't shined, they'd be mad at her for that.
I think maybe this is my opinion. I don't know. Maybe she shined brighter than Kate, and it didn't work.
So yeah. Look, you saw the interview. I did not. So I'm going to piece together some thoughts based on our prior conversations about this, even on this show, and then in general, the snippets I've seen this week. On this show, we talked about when Megxit first happened, and they did an interview. I forget what platform or what have you, and we kind of dissected that. And I mean, look, he said, again, this is, he being Harry, saw what was happening to his mother happen to his wife. This is what this is about. Point blank, period. I think it was incredibly sad how she was talking about her mental health. And, that had been unveiled when she did an interview and she was crying when somebody asked her, like, how are you doing? And they didn't even mean for it to like unlock the floodgates. And she started crying like on the interview. Like, nobody has asked me that. She said something like that. I forget the exact words. But the point being, all of this had been building. But he said, look, I saw what happened to my mother was happening to my wife again. And we speculated on that. And he said it, but he said it again. I'm going to go ahead and, me, Sam, I like to presume when I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. I don't think it was William. I think it was Kate. And I think Charles. Kate and Charles.
Yeah, I think it was the dad and the sister-in-law.
Kate and Charles said something to him.
A lot of people like to put it on the Queen, but they have made it very clear that the Queen is very supportive and was very supportive of Princess Diana as well.
Correct. And I like the Queen's statement. The Queen is not going to jump out there and give you like just chapter and verse was, but she said, it saddened me to basically, it's one of those things like, I can't have that happen to my grandson and his wife. Like, she said it without saying it. Like, I love him and I love her and I want him to be happy.
They have a very great relationship, Prince Harry and the Queen.
Absolutely.
His relationships with his brother and father are broken.
Strained. Yeah.
He seemed to be a little more optimistic about the relationship with his brother than with the father. When William responded and said he would talk to him. Yeah, great. Yeah. And what he said about his father was this: He's my father. I love him. I'll always love him. I'll cherish I'm paraphrasing things that should say, but he's like, that is just not where we are right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Megan, she's busting up all the walls and curtains. And she was talking about the relationship between the press and the royals, basically. Like, the royals don't run the country, the press does.
Correct. Like this is about the media there.
It's about the media.
They're horrible.
And the fact that they have like a big, that the palace throws a huge Christmas party or something like that for the media outlets. Like, it's almost like it's like a teeter, like they need one another. And instead of like the queen, who you would think would have all the power in the world to be like, look, I'm not putting up with this shit. Y'all fucking, reporters, y'all don't run shit. I do. It's not like that. It's almost like they have to be two parts to make a whole. Correct. And it's like, and even Prince Harry was like, look, they stuck. They stuck. Like, I was sitting there like, yeah, your family is in a sunken place. But I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, but what he was describing, that's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. And his best friend, this guy who's been acknowledged to be his best friend, he's been making his rounds this week, and he was on CNN. And I like what he said, because I think it's the perfect way to say it. He said, as far as a family in and of themselves and people, the royals are fine. The royal family is a good family. The queen, the prince, all of them are good people. The institution of the royal family is horrible.
Yeah, they're born to play a role, and they can't separate the two.
Well, and he said what you just said. He was like, it's not about them. It's about like all these people around them, all their handlers, all these people. He was like, those are the people who will. So the queen can, they could all be gathered around, but they're not even really talking to each other. They're talking to like their people, and their people are talking to. So, for example, one of Queen Elizabeth's people will go to Harry and say, okay, you need to stand over there and this and that. Or your baby, looks sick today. You need to take him back. And in their mind, it's like, yeah, you're saying this, but my grandmother, who's the queen, wouldn't care. They just want to be with me. They just want to spend time with me. And that's what he was saying. He was like, it's all these handlers between them and the press that are causing this poison. They're the poison. It's incredibly sad. But I do like, they've been playing interviews. They've been juxtaposing that interview with the interview of his mother. And Diana would be saying the same stuff. Like everything he was saying, she's saying. She would be like, look, man, she was like, they're kind of in a sunken place. Like, you can't be a real person, And she's like, I'm not complaining. I have a great life in the sense of we're privileged, but, people just, these handlers, the press, all that, they treat you like you're not a person. And I just think it's incredible. And now I'm going to give him more credit than I did when we first were talking about this. And I thought that he was kind of trying to use Meghan as a shield. And I'll just go ahead and say it now. He is not. He's standing up for her and standing up with her. And I'm with him and I'm with her. And then so the aftermath, speaking of the press, Piers Morgan.
Yeah. Donald Trump's first celebrity appearance, by the way.
Right. And he was on the equivalent of Fox and Friends for Great Britain. I think it's called Good Morning Britain, right? Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. And he got so mad. He sticks up for anything in the royal family, meaning he doesn't like any scandal. So if Diana was alive, he'd be talking bad about her. Yeah. And when they came out, he immediately talked bad about Meghan. And then his co-host, who is he black? He looks half black. The guy who kind of was going at him, he was like, I wish I'd see that segment live, because he was getting it order. He was like, look, man, you had a relationship with Meghan, like y'all were friends, and then she curbed you basically, and now you're mad about it. Yeah. So I understand that. Yeah, he was like, why don't you try to be impartial? And then he got so mad, he walked off the set. Shab, I'm sorry, man. We do a podcast. You and I, we get into it all the time and all that. If I'm ever so mad that I walk off in the middle of the show, like, I don't even understand how you can get that mad. And you call me a Kirk box, and I am. I'm never walking off my own show.
Yeah. Like,
he was like, I'm done.
If you feel like you have to get up and walk off the show, you know that everything that you were trying to defend was wrong anyway.
You're so wrong. You're so
that wrong. Like, and now
look, how we,
that's
you know who should have,
how wrong you are.
You know who should have done that? Shaq, when he was talking to Kansas Parker last week when we were talking about it, because he backed himself so far into a corner. But yeah, so he walks off the show.
I'm not staying for this.
Yeah,
this
what do you mean?
I gotta go.
Why? Why not? What up?
No, it's old school basketball. Gotta go.
You a girl, you don't know how to play ball. But no, but and then the next day they fired, or I don't know, mutual parting of ways, whatever you want to call it.
You know, he probably was like, "Yeah, you can't be just leaving the show."
He was off the show,
right?
And then look, did you see the clip of how dude was talking about him after he left? They didn't even cut the commercial. He was like, this is typical behavior. And you know what? Whatever. He was still talking trash. He walked off. I was like, yo, y'all are not friends. I don't care what you say. But it's
feel
been
like only a friend would be comfortable like serving you like that, though.
I agree with that, but he could have stopped when he walked off.
Nah, it was too good. It was too good.
He kicked him while he was down.
He turned the knife.
Yeah, he turned the knife quite hard. But it caused quite a stir though. But you know what, Sam? Oprah still got it, don't she? That's who you go to. Yeah. That, and I thought about what you said because you brought it to my attention that they stayed with Tyler Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Staying in his house because they were talking about that. I think they did the interview there.
Yeah, but you got the cheat code. Tyler and Oprah, they got the cheat code.
So all of that. Yeah.
But I ain't like how she kept cutting them off and when they were talking. I never liked that about Oprah and her interviewing. Like they'll be in the middle, like she'll ask them a question and they'll be in the middle of answering it, and then she'll cut them off and start talking, or she'll answer it for them or lead them. Like I don't like that, but that's something I used to see her do on her show, which I didn't really appreciate.
Interesting take, because, you know, I was about to say another thing that kind of bore out of this week. Megyn Kelly and a bunch of other people went after Oprah they said she didn't probe enough. Like when Megyn made the statement about how somebody told her that they were concerned about what color Archie would be. Mm-hmm. And you and I talked about this. So before you said something, I just kind of took it as truth, but you're correct in the sense that Megyn said that, but then she said that Harry told her that.
Right.
So she didn't hear that.
Right. So when Harry came out, she asked him point blank, what did that conversation sound like? And he said he did not feel comfortable repeating it. Like he was stern, and she asked him like repeatedly, like 3 or 4 times. She asked him, and tried to ask it in a different way, but he was very stern in his decision that he will never speak of that conversation again. He will never repeat the words that were spoken on during that conversation.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
So even though he won't, can we speculate on stopping the podcast? Who said that?
I already said. I think Kate.
Yeah, idea. I got an idea.
Or
I think it was Kate.
Yeah, I think it was Kate.
It was Kate.
I'm telling you, William should have picked.
Do you think he'd be wrong? Do you think he'd be wrong? Now, Charles by been standing there like, I was also a little concerned about the color.
Like, are y'all what planet do you live on? You know the kid's gonna be biracial. Like, what color did you think he was gonna be?
Yeah. And it's like, Charles, have you looked in the mirror lately? Like,
I hope not.
You are an ugly man. And Camilla is ugly.
I hope
you were lucky to get Diana. Like, stop.
Yeah, and he was horrible to her.
Horrible to her.
He outkicked his coverage greatly on her.
Big time.
Horrible to her.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a big thing this week. So, and you know, on social media, people like, it just shows racism still, of course.
Why do people say stuff like that?
I don't know, Shane, but they do.
Oh, this just shows that racism still exists. What was
no
the
matter
other
where you are,
1,350,000 things that happened that you missed?
Correct. Correct. So, but Megan, man, she gets a lot of fire from different directions. I saw a story that said, she's cloud chasing, and there's some stories that saying she's trying to run for office. I got to dig into that. So that was a teaser for next week.
She did bring up the fact that people thought she was clout chasing, and she was like, I don't need to chase nobody for clout. I don't need clout. Like, this is not, like, they both said that. They were like, this is.
It'd be funny, like, people act like they ain't watch Suits.
Like
she don't need a clout chase.
Like, this chick wasn't out here working, balling. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. Clout chase. Like, he went after her. Like, who's this chick on Suits? I want to marry her right now.
Right. Clout chasing is like dating a rapper. Like, you don't uproot your whole life and become a royal to clout chase like that.
Yeah. I'm going to put myself in the situation to the biggest racist situation ever. No, I'm not. Yeah. For clout. No. Yeah. Sorry. So that's that. So that story will continue to unfold, unfortunately. Another story that, man, you want to talk about unfolding. We touched on it last week. Governor Cuomo, this thing is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, you want to talk about clout chasing, Sham? I'll just say it. And you and I both talked about, we don't ever want to seem like we're quote unquote victim blaming. So I'll say this first. I've always just been amazed at how in the Me Too era, when one story comes, an avalanche of stories then come after it. And it makes it hard to decipher which stories are true and not. Because it's like, well, if this person was doing this, man, they did a good job of keeping all this quiet. All right. Some of these things, it's like when the person is describing the chapter or verse, okay, I could believe that. And he did apologize for some of the stuff. He being Andrew Cuomo, he apologized for some of the stuff. So obviously some of the stuff is true, but then the stories get worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's just incredible in that respect. Pretty much everyone in New York and beyond in the Democratic Party has turned against him, but he will still not resign. I saw that as of an hour before the show. He said, roll the dice, get the investigation going. I feel like I'm good out here, and all these people are opportunists. Period.
All right. And sometimes when you apologize, it doesn't mean that it actually happened. I think maybe you just doing it to kind of like settle down the public.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His apology was like the comments that they say I made, but it was taken out of context. Like it was that type of apology. Because I think he was apologizing for like, the comments where he would ask an aide like who she was dating or how her dating life was and stuff like that. He apologized for that. Look, you and I talked on this show about the fact that I've been in a position of authority over female employees and how I conduct myself with them. Yeah. What we didn't talk about, I would never ask them about their dating life. That is not a topic of conversation. And what makes it worse is sometimes they would like to bring stuff up like that to me, and I'll make it plain. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in knowing that. There's what good is that? That's just dumb, if nothing else. This is a dumb thing to talk about.
I don't care who people are dating. I don't care.
Exactly. Why would I ask you about your dating life unless I'm interested in dating you? Like, you know what I'm saying? So if nothing else, whatever his intentions were, that was stupid. And he deserves to get chastised just for the stupidity of it. So, but it's bad, though. It's very bad. But he won't resign. He should. I think he should at this point. They had Bill de Blasio on this morning, Sham. That man is such an opportunist. He's ridiculous. And all he did was take shots at Andrew Cuomo. He hates him so much. Like, it's palpable. It's embarrassing. It's like, dude, why you hate him so much? Because he wants to be governor.
He about to hate Andrew Yang pretty soon. Well, maybe not. Maybe
he's
gonna go for the governor seat and be like, nah, forget this mayor nonsense.
I mean, Either way, he shouldn't run for either one. But yeah, look at Andrew Yang. Looking good out here to be the mayor of New York. So, all the black people in New York are like, what's up with reparations? That was your staple when you were running for president.
$1,000.
That's the only reason we voted. Yeah. we want our guap. You got our vote if we get that bag. Maybe that's why he's trending. But we both saw that's a mention, but it's a good mention though. We like Andrew Yang. Now, I have a friend who I was talking about de Blasio today when we were watching the shows and we were messaging, and she works presently in the Department of Corrections in New York, in the bureaucratic sense. She's not like a guard or anything. But anyway, she was talking trash about de Blasio, but she lives in New York, and she was also talking about Yang. And she was saying, I like Yang as a person, but he doesn't know anything about New York in terms of the city and all that. I guess he's from there, but whatever. So the thought up there is that people like him, but they think this is kind of he's just running on a whim because he got a lot of name recognition. So they need to see more. So I want to throw that in there.
They got a couple years to see more. So
yeah, it'll be a while.
Yeah.
So finally, before we wrap up the news, we talked about it. Vaccine getting out there, Sham. We're looking good out here.
It's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to even say it, right? Because it's like people open it up. People, states open it up. We talked about Maryland, Texas is opened up. Sham, let's get to it right now. Did you see? I posted on our site, on the site. That young lady in the Uber.
Yeah, she was lunching.
They arrested her.
Risking it all.
Yeah. So it's three of them. The third one, I don't know as of this taping if she's turned herself in yet, but the third one was supposed to turn herself in. So Stop Playing Podcast family, most of y'all probably have seen this, but there was an Uber in San Francisco where the young lady didn't like that. So it was three people in the car. The Uber driver was trying to get one of them to put a mask on. I've done to the story. They stopped at a store so that they could get a mask for the third person. When they came back, they didn't like his attitude. So the third person did not put the mask on. All of them are sitting in the back. So then the tape starts when they're cussing him out. One of the girls decides it'd be a good idea to start coughing on him. And the other ones are laughing and saying they have COVID and cussing him out. This video goes viral. So two of those three have been arrested. Now the third one has turned himself in. I put it on the page and I stand by it. Throw all three of them in jail and throw away the key. Nobody has time for something like that. It's ridiculous.
And they sprayed his car with pepper spray before they got out of it.
Yeah, so that part was not in the video. Yeah.
So yeah, he took them to their destination or whatever. And then instead of just leaving, they sprayed his car with pepper spray and left. So now this man is in the car with the pepper spray in it, coughing and choking.
Ridiculous. And then I saw someone else. Somebody in Walmart didn't want to wear a mask in Texas because they felt like, okay, the governor said it's okay. The businesses could still make people wear masks to go in, but because the governor said you don't have to, people are going in and fighting with people in stores, Texas and everywhere else where there's no mask mandate. Somebody got stabbed and killed. Be
spraying them with pepper spray.
Yeah. Somebody got stabbed and killed. Yeah.
That's crazy. Imagine working at Walmart and have to have a pepper spray in your pocket.
Awful. Imagine working anywhere where the state says people don't have to wear masks and people come in and say, well, I don't care what your store policy is. We don't have to wear masks anymore. So, and then they treat you like you're illegal. And the people fighting you. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous. You get killed over that. So all of that's happening.
I've mentioned before that I work at a store in part-time. And on Friday evening, 2 days ago, our governor opened the capacity up to 100%. He did not. He didn't say you didn't have to wear a mask. The mask mandate is still in full effect. Right. But it was very, there's a lot of anxiety going to work on Saturday, having to think about people wanting to just come and go freely as they please inside your store. But what we've decided as a business is that we're still going to continue to screen everyone that comes up to our gate. Like we have our gate partially closed. So when you have to stop outside and we're going to ask you, why are you here? Do you have an appointment? That kind of thing. We're just not letting people come in and out freely. We just feel like it's still not a safe environment. So we're, even though they changed the capacity rule, the limit rule, we're still like, nope. For safety reasons, we're still gonna screen everybody that comes in. So far, nobody has been tripping, but I can just imagine how that could go left very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna see how this plays out. I mean, we're feeling good about the vaccine in general in the country, but it is a huge mistake for all these states including Maryland.
One of those girls snatched his phone out of his hand.
Yep. Snatched the phone after coughing on him. Out of control. No, throw away the key. And this is how people will be acting. And we're coming up on spring break. We're coming up on spring in general. It's getting warmer. It's getting nicer outside. We're not out of the woods. I'm happy about the vaccine, but man, America is just still, I hate to say it, it's a trash country. And this is how we're acting. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're trash.
Yep.
We're not.
No. I just happen to live here. We just happen to live here. And on that note, that's all political and world news we have to take.
Let's get into some entertainment.
We got some fun. We got a lot of fun.
Always perks us up.
Yes. Got a lot of fun stuff. So actually, Sham, I didn't mean to talk. Were the Grammys tonight?
They're happening right now.
Exactly.
So I have not watched them, obviously, because we're doing this. Okay. But it'll be on Paramount Plus tomorrow, so I'll probably watch it on there.
You're so happy about Paramount Plus.
Yeah, because I just don't want to have to.
Who's happier, you with Paramount Plus or me with Discovery Plus?
You with Discovery Plus.
I know. Yeah, there's no question. Listen, Sham and fam, there's nobody happier about anything than I am about Discovery Plus. Period.
I have been kind of surfing Discovery. Like Discovery, that's a great deal for Discovery Plus. There's so much content on Discovery Plus. Like I didn't even realize some of those channels that are on there were under the Discovery umbrella. Like
Sham, I mean, you were transparent. Like I'm gonna clown you, but I want the password to be. So thank you for doing that. But I'm telling you, you and everybody else, my best friend, he was like, you're so happy about this. He was like, but I got to tell you, it's an excellent deal.
So good.
He was like, honestly, you're so happy, but it's an excellent deal. Seriously.
It is. And honestly, it puts Paramount Plus to shame because they don't offer you much. I was thinking that when, you got Paramount Plus, you would get BET Plus, you would get all these. You don't get BET Plus, you get regular BET. You get the stuff that BET Plus rejected for the most part.
Yeah. But, that's awful, but yes, you're right.
But you do get MTV, you do get Nickelodeon, and you get obviously CBS and all that CBS news stuff. I don't want that. That's not fun. You do get stuff like the Grammys. So I'll be able to watch that tomorrow and hopefully I'll have something to report during our next episode.
We'll have a report. Couple of things I'm watching. So Epics in general, I have been meaning to figure out how I can get that platform or maybe loop it into another package, but I just gave up because Godfather of Harlem is on Epics with Forrest Whitaker, about Bumpy Johnson, and all that stuff. So I've been meaning, I was like, man, I gotta get around watching that. I still haven't, but that's what brought Epics to like the forefront. And then I saw another ad for the so-called Pennyworth, which is essentially about Alfred from Batman in his younger days. So I just buckled and went in and got Epics. It's $5 a month, just like Discovery Plus. And it's great. I saw the first episode. I'm already in, entrenched. I'm good.
I didn't realize you could get Epics independent of Xfinity, because for years and years, Epics was part of the Xfinity package. So, I mean, that's great.
No, you're right. Because when you I did it through Jory, through Google Play, and they immediately make you initially do it through whatever, like cable network or whatever you got. But then if you go down, it'll say Epics Now. So it's called Epics Now. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So you can get that independently. So that's what I did. But yeah, it's good. So I like it. Britannia is, sort of a medieval Game of Thrones-y type show. Also on Epics. No, I'm sorry. It's on Netflix, actually. And it's about... It might be on Netflix, actually. I might be tripping about that. All right. But it's about...
And it's on Prime.
I shouldn't say Game of Thrones. It's about the Roman invasion of Britain. It's set about 50 AD, like 100 years after Caesar tried to do it. So the only reason I even bring it to my attention, it had two people who I've been following. The woman in it, the main character, I forget her name, she plays in Yellowstone. So she's a British actress. But it also has Ian McDermott in it, who plays the Emperor in Star Wars. And he's great. He's just like he is in Star Wars, except with a beard. So, good show there. But Sham, let's get to it. What's been the big entertainment thing for the last week and a half? It just else died down. And I want to get your thoughts if you even seen the movie. Did you see Coming to America 2?
I did see Coming to America. Actually, I think I mentioned it on the last episode, but you hadn't watched it yet.
I hadn't watched it. You're right. So now that we both watched it, your thoughts?
Trash.
Wow. No.
Trash.
Disagree.
Leslie Jones, trash. Tracy Morgan, trash.
Yes.
Fake Queens set, trash. Too many
fake what?
Queens. It was a set. They weren't in Queens. Like,
oh, okay, gotcha.
Fake Queens, trash. Too many cameos, trash.
What do you mean too many? You mean from the first one?
No, it was too many cameos in this one. It was like so many people popping up. Like, why are you even here? Like, what are you doing here? Eddie Murphy was like, yo, you want to be in a movie? You want to be in a movie? You want to be in a movie? Did he call you? Because I didn't get a message.
Harsh judgment.
That whole, we're going to have a funeral while I'm alive. Like, come on, trash. Like, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that there weren't parts of the movie that were funny. Obviously, because you had a lot of funny people in it. I just think when I think about this movie, I'm like doing too much. Like so many things were just over the top. Like bring it back. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll say this. I disagree with the trash assessment. I will say this. I do agree that there were a lot of moments where it was trying too hard to be
that
funny.
Part.
But let's start with the funeral. I wouldn't have gone about it that way, but it was a good way to. So, okay, I'll just lump it into one.
It was campy.
I'll lump it in one big point. I was more, I guess, so happy that so many people were still around to come back, including James Earl Jones, that I was willing to overlook the vehicle through which they were included. I don't even, to your point, it wasn't necessary to do a funeral for him or a live funeral. I mean, you could just had him have the same conversation, then die, and then have an actual funeral. But whatever, fine. I was just so happy that everyone was able to make it back. it reminded me, actually, as I was watching the movie, I was thinking about when we were talking about Hollow Knights on the podcast, on the show, and we were like, yeah, no one's around. Like, he couldn't do it if he wanted. This one, everyone except the mother, which I do like how they brought that part back in, because that was a big part of the first movie. Even though she wasn't in the movie that much, she was the one that was like, yo, go get Lisa.
Put a sock in it, Joffy. The boy's in love.
The boy's in love. Then go after her. Actually, it's kind of funny because in the first movie, they kind of make it seem like she then starts talking to Cleo at the wedding. But, you know, I guess out of respect, they left that alone. But
I didn't get that impression at all. I know the scene that you're talking about, but I didn't get the impression that there was like a thing. I just thought
Are you serious?
No, not at all. I just thought that was just a little cute little scene.
Next time you see Coming to America, scrutinize that scene.
I just watched it last week.
Okay.
I don't get that. I don't get that.
Okay. Hey, I guess neither one of us will change the other's mind. Sherry Healy looked spectacular.
She did look very good.
Man, she was preserved.
But she was awesome. Recently on The Have and the Have Not, so I've seen her. So, yeah. I did. Leslie Jones was unnecessary. Tracy Morgan, unnecessary. That being said, and also, honestly, I was telling a friend of mine, I would have been cool with the plot being, you know, forget the whole like random son angle. Maybe like his daughter doesn't want to marry Wesley Snipes' son, so she goes to America. Yeah.
You know, something like that. Like they could have just made it that simple.
Yeah, the illegitimate son thing was weird. Yeah. I knew that once I heard that was the story, I knew I wasn't going to like it. And I didn't like the actor who played the son. I didn't like any of it.
You remember him, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Wesley Snipes' son. That's, what's it, Trey? From Power. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was useless. They could have got anyone to do that.
Yeah, Rotimi. Yeah, I know.
Rotimi.
As soon as he walked in, I said, look at Rotimi.
Mm-hmm.
That whole plot line with how is Wesley Snipes coming in your palace running shit? Like, you the fucking princess of you the king of Zamunda. How are you letting this clown run you? Like, these are the things that irked my soul.
That being said, they didn't irk me that much. I did like that they looped it back around. Made some changes to Zamunda, the daughter, all that. I liked all that. So, in general, I was more forgiving of it. I was more like, look, if you're going to make a movie 30 years later, is it necessary? No, wasn't necessary. But if you're going to do it, it's great to have everyone back. And I could just take it for what it is, appreciate it, and move forward. Yeah, I'm not prepared to say trash at all. I'll disagree on that.
I think there was I think your point about having everybody back is great, but a lot of them were misused. They weren't utilized properly. The plot lines were weak and stuff. Like, if you're going to bring everybody back, you could have done better with what you did with them. That's my only, my thing. So
always areas of opportunity. But listen, our discussion right now was the discussion. It was polarizing. Either people liked it or they hated it. There was no middle ground. There was no middle ground on it. Mm-mm. So, now speaking of middle ground, a little surprising development. This story has a twist and a turn. So, Versus that we've been talking about. We've been following.
Us lots of great entertainment.
Absolutely.
During the pandemic.
So we got a business update for Versus. They're going to sell it. Yeah. Timo and Swiss go sell it, get their money to Triller.
What is a Triller?
I have no idea. Until I've read the story. I had heard of it. Yeah.
Triller owns TikTok, and so they're adding that to their umbrella.
Yeah, and it's important because of the way in which this transaction is being done. They're selling the Versus, I guess, brand, and then as part of the transaction, they're buying shares into Triller. And it's important to kind of flesh that out because Michael Rainey, of all people, Michael Rainey Jr.,
Tariq,
also AKA Tariq, jumped out there, Shan, and called them sellouts.
No, they are selling out, technically.
I mean, right. But like, and then didn't even say like, oh, that was just an initial say. No, jumped out there and chapter and verse with the, it's rare that we have stuff that's just for us and this and that. And they sold out to the point where both of them responded. And they were like, we're selling the brand and we're buying shares into the company. So again, as we talked about before, they're selling it to themselves. Again, and liquefying their products.
Yeah, they're basically getting a whole bunch of money and putting less money into it so they can forever get kickbacks.
Yeah, they're liquefying it and minimizing their risk.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else can handle all of the day-to-day. We just going to collect.
It's ridiculous that Michael Rainey, like, what are you talking about, man?
All the time. People like this was like a startup and they sold it.
Yeah, and then I saw this discussion online, and it was, here's my position, guys. Selling out, like what? Like, oh, we have something that's just for us. Well, first of all, who's the we? You talking about black people? This is a business that belongs to Timberland and Swiss Beats. And
I didn't realize it was just for us.
Thank you. And who's us? This is their business. It's like when we talk about anything else. Oh, well, we need to keep stuff just for... No, this is their business.
Mm-hmm. So
just
now
like my
house.
house.
Stop watching Versus because they don't own it no more. Like,
yeah, my house is my house. It's not every black person's house. Like, there are a lot of stuff that I want to keep black, but to a point where no, I don't want black dollars in general to go out of the community. I want the community to be upheld. But if a black person is rising by growing their brand and then selling their business, that helps them. I will feed off that advancement for them.
And I don't necessarily think that Versus needs to stay black. Like, I want to see some Versus battles that ain't just black people in them.
Right. And it reminds me of like BET, like, oh, BET sold out the Viacom. Well, remember what BET was before they did that? It was uncut. Like, stop. Like, sometimes
again, it was another person a black business who sold and got more money, and then he bought a basketball team and sold that.
Right. Like, so what? Like, stop, y'all. Hoteps. Can't stand it. But yeah, they sold. But Tariq, like, calm down. You know what I need you to be focused on? How we gonna let College Cadet like grow?
Right.
Okay.
How's Monet not gonna kill you? How about that?
Yeah.
Keep Monet from killing you.
Yeah, and stop playing around with her daughter and get with old girl in the classroom and grow your little life.
Yeah, get with Lauren.
Yeah,
and stop letting light skin Keisha carry you every class.
Yeah, and stay in school so you get the trust. Yo, we need to stop. We need to stop trolling Tariq.
You got your own problems, Tariq.
You got too many problems to be worried about. What's going on with Versus? We need to stop trolling Tariq. Right.
I'm not ever going to stop trolling.
I'll never either. Tariq, you slipped up. You let Sax tape you at the cemetery. Like, what are you doing? you let Sax niece give you a roofie at the party. Stop. You're not qualified to tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing. That was amateur hour. It's so fun talking about power. Like, whatever.
What are you doing, man?
So ridiculous. Tommy should have killed you. Yeah. You so what?
You let that girl take your whole enterprise, and then she transfers schools on you. Like, shut up.
I bet you. Yeah. I bet you weren't talking that trash, talking all that business trash and choke. Oh, girl chose. She would have sold Versus.
Right. She would have sold all of his organs if she needed to.
Exactly.
Anyway, you ready to get to some sports?
Always. It's fun clown and Tariq Gator. Yeah, we'll bow coming back. I want the beginning of Tommy's show where he kills Tariq.
Tariq should have been
start the show out like that. Anyway. So what time is it? Favorite time of year normally would have been, Sham?
March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, normally would have been. You know what? It still might be. Once they do put the bracket out, like my heart was sunk the other day because I have like an auto record for every Duke game on my DVR. Mm-hmm. So it just whenever Duke comes on, it records it. So I was sitting here the other day. I was like, "Oh, ain't no Duke play today." So I was like, "All right, well, I'll wait till it's done recording and then watch the thing in the entirety." Mm. So I was like, "All right, it's done. Let me start at the beginning." I was like, "Wait, why is Kansas on my TV? It's like the Big 12 tournament. Like, what's happening?" So I'm like, "Okay, maybe the game's still going on." So I fast forward. I said, "Wait, the game just started. Hold up." So then I see at the bottom of the screen that Duke dropped out of the tournament because of the ACC tournament. Because of a positive COVID test.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
It's been
over before it started.
Tough season for y'all, man.
It's been absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah. But, well, okay. So they'll drop out of this one. Obviously, coming into the tournament, they were not on good footing. So, for the first time in, I believe it was 34 years? Is that what they said?
I remember them not making the tournament in 1990, not the 95-96 season, I believe is when they only won 5 games, or was it 94-95? Okay. It was one of those seasons that they had only won 5 games and they didn't go to the tournament or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I think after that, they pretty much went every year.
Okay.
That I can remember.
So maybe it was another stat I was looking at, or maybe it was ACC related or something like that. But
no, I'll look it up. But go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, but yeah. So we don't have Duke. I mean, look, it's going to be a weird year regardless. UNC has been. Have you been seeing? Roy Williams? I mean, he's just been going off like every press conference after they lose.
Yeah, he's just unhinged.
Yes, on his perfect word. Yeah,
it was 94-95. So yeah. I had that.
Okay, cool.
But back to Roy Williams.
Yeah, he's like, we're not a good team. Like whatever. I remember him saying something a couple of weeks ago, like I wouldn't pay to watch us, like something like that. Like he's just been talking bad about him.
It was so funny. He had lost to a team he thought he was going to beat. He's like, if I knew I was going to lose to them, I would have scheduled him.
That's what I'm talking about. No, you just said what I'm talking about. Yes.
Hey, but then he cleaned it up. He was like, but I mean, why would we schedule against anybody that we thought we were going to lose to? So,
right. Yeah, but he's been very unhinged. Yes. Yeah. Like necktie loose, just looking crazy out here. But yeah, so I mean, look, besides that, one thing I'm excited about, and we mentioned John Thompson's passing on the show a couple of times. And, I believe I've said it. I mean, John Thompson to me is, we talked about Marion Barry and all these people, and Doug Williams and stuff like that. When you talk about DC and growing up here, like those are people, they're the Mount Rushmores of DC. Mm-hmm. And John Thompson is one of those people. So Patrick Ewing has taken over as coach with Georgetown. And I think we talked about that, definitely. And look, they had struggled initially in this season, but then they picked up some steam heading into the conference tournament. Then they knocked off Villanova the other night. And, in general, it was just piquing interest. So they had the Big East final yesterday. They played Creighton. And I'll get back to the Villanova game in a second on a note about Patrick Ewing. They beat Creighton and they have won the Big East tournament. So Georgetown will be going to the NCAA tournament at 12-12 or 13-12 record, I believe, 12-12. They had to do this in order to get in. But the feel-good story is, number one, Patrick Ewing is the first, player to go to win the Big East as player and coach from Georgetown. That's great. So they've been showing pictures of him and John Thompson and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's been great. So Georgetown, I mean, having them back in, the way they've been playing the way that Big John will want them to play. And it's been awesome for everybody in DC.
And now, they actually have released the bracket. Mm-hmm. So tonight, Georgetown is a 12 seed in the East. Mm-hmm.
So 12 seed is the dangerous seed, Shan.
That is the one, because the 12-5. Always the 12 that beats a 5.
Yeah, the 12-5. Yeah, they know what they were doing.
They're in the Michigan bracket. So,
and we'll talk about that in a second. But the big story, well, not the big story, but a story that came out of Georgetown beating Villanova was that, of course, the Big East tournament is played in Madison Square Garden, where Patrick Ewing played for the Knicks for 15 plus years. And apparently he was upset that he kept getting stopped by security and all that stuff as the team was preparing and all that stuff for his badge and checking his ID. And I'm with him on this.
They wanted autographs?
That should have been the story. But he didn't feel that way. Apparently they were checking him as in checking his credentials.
I mean, just look at the wall.
And that's what he was saying.
I'm all over the place.
He literally said, "I thought this was my house. My jersey is hanging. My jersey is hanging in the rafters.
It's literally right there. It's right there.
And on top of that, I'm sorry, Shan, but Patrick Ewing is 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
There's only one Patrick Ewing on the face of the earth, whether he's in Madison Square Garden or not. I believe he's recognizable. Why do you need to see his badge? Is there another 7 foot tall human being that's impersonating Patrick Ewing?
Only Patrick Ewing Jr., and I'm sure he wasn't there.
Right. It's like security guard. You're in Madison Square Garden and the Georgetown Hoyas are playing the Villanova Wildcats. There's a guy that looks like Patrick Ewing walking around. I think that's Patrick Ewing. Like, stop. But so he brought that up at the press conference. Like, he was like, he prioritized that over talking about the win. He was that upset about it.
He straight outed whoever was security and got him fired.
And then, Shan, what I liked about it is that when I was watching it on SportsCenter, they looped it back to what we were talking about on the Stop Playing podcast. They were like, this is just the kind of stupid stuff that's been happening in Madison Square Garden. They looped into that, the Charles Oakley story, and the Spike Lee coming through the employee story. They were like, this is nonsense.
Yeah. That's just disrespectful as I don't know what.
It's very disrespectful. But so I'm glad he took that trophy home after that. So good for them. Now, the other, I don't even want to call it, it's just a story, just like, I don't want to call it ratchet, but it was a little ratchet.
Syracuse get in? What the?
Shan, did you see the Maryland Michigan's game in the ACC tournament?
You know, I ain't see that in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay, so am I breaking news? Do you even know what happened or any stuff?
I don't know. You know, I ain't watching Maryland games.
So, okay. So Michigan ended up losing to Ohio State. But Michigan's very good.
Yeah,
so you do know that, right?
They're 1 seed.
Yes.
I know that much.
Yes. So coming into the ACC tournament, they were number 2. Or
right.
They were number 2.
They were, they were teetering between 1 through 2 through 4. 2 through 4 was changing.
And Maryland was like an 8. Now, Michigan has beaten Maryland already twice this year. What I did not know is that apparently there's bad blood, like very bad blood between Michigan and Maryland basketball.
Maryland tends to create bad blood.
Thank you, because this is how I'm seeing it. Sham, during the game, matter of fact, towards the end of the game, Juwan Howard proceeds to lose his mind on the sideline and like arguing with Ralph Turgeon, the coach from Maryland.
That people in your house hate.
To the point, Juwan Howard gets thrown out the game. And, Juwan Howard is the type, like, as a player, and now as a coach, he's kind of even keel guy. Like he was a player coach for a long time with the Heat.
I always thought he was kind of a Kirk box when he was playing in DC, but
I didn't see him as a Kirk box, and I watched a lot of Bullets / Wizards. Yeah, well, your theory is I guess solidified with this tape. When you see how he was acting, he was for real acting like he wanted to fight Turgeon. Like it was that serious.
I wonder what he was doing to make him want to fight him.
So apparently this was about there are two different stories. There was a disrespect to a banner or what have you, but it was more so just the players had started chirping at each other, and then Juwan Howard already carried some bad feelings from a couple games during the regular season. So he was talking to Turgeon, and then Turgeon was like, "Don't talk to me," and yelled it at him. And then Juwan Howard, the way in which he was yelled at, Juwan Howard took that as he was trying to fight him. So Juwan Howard was acting like he was trying to fight Turgeon. Yeah, it was bad. He was kirking. He got thrown out of the game. But Maryland, Michigan ended up beating Maryland. And they got to the final and then lost to Ohio State. So, but it was a story. If you see that tape, you'll be like, what?
Yeah. Maryland is so desperate for a rival. They will try to dream up a rivalry against anybody. Like
they do. And I said Ralph Turgeon. I'm sorry. Ralph Friedgen was the Maryland football coach a long time ago. Mark Turgeon. Yeah.
Correct. People in your house hate him.
Yeah. And it's funny you say Maryland tries to dream of rivalry. A few podcasts ago, I was talking about how Maryland tried to dream up a rivalry with Penn State football. And we joked about that record. That record was like 34-1.
They tried to dream up a rivalry against Duke too, and we had to keep reminding them that they're not North Carolina.
Ooh, Jay. Now, okay, I will say this though: they did beat Duke. Duke had a big comeback win against them the year they won the final, or the year they won the championship. But they turned around and beat Duke on route to win the championship that year, I believe. With like,
they split the
Juan
season.
Dixon.
Like they split the season, but that's what happens in conferences. Like, so
no props. All right, I got you.
No, I'm saying they split the season. That happens in conferences. That's not an outlandish idea. I guess my thing is that they were trying to put themselves where Carolina is on the rivalry meter. Like, nah. And every time they came to Cameron, fans would yell, "Not our rival." Calm down.
Wow. Yeah. And make fun of Gary sweating and all that. Gary Williams used to sweat quite a bit.
Who is a hater. I think I told you about my conversation with him when I met him.
You did? You did indeed. So those are some of the college basketball stories. The tournament will start next week. You excited?
No.
Yeah. Doesn't feel real, does it?
Doesn't. It feels weird. And I didn't watch the selection show. Like I normally watch all this stuff. Like I'm not there. Like I'm so out of pocket with this.
Like people talk about brackets. I'm like, brackets? Like, oh yeah. I'm not gonna do it. Are you gonna do a bracket?
Yeah, I'll probably do one of them free ones on like ESPN or something.
Are you gonna put much thought into it?
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
Oh. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna do one this year. Now got some NFL news. Breeze retired today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we saw that coming.
Yeah.
So, Crab Legs is in the driver's seat for the starting job there.
Jesus Christ!
I guess it'll make one of our friends happy. The one you said actually wants him to have that job.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to circle back to that and see if he still feels that way.
Holler at him. Like, are you sure about that, fam? Like, what are you talking about?
Now that it's a reality, sir. Yeah. And what happened to Taysom Hill? Do we not like him anymore?
That's a great point. It's like, fam, when you're speaking in abstract, you're looking at 30 interceptions in the face, like 30. Stop. But yeah, so he retired today. But look, the big NFL news, it's kind of one off now a little bit, but Dak Prescott. Sham, I was listening to the podcast at almost the exact moment where I was like, Dallas is going to pay him when the Google card came across. Like, I still can't believe they paid him all that money. That's Super Bowl of Bucks money.
Yeah, it kind of had to, though. It's just the way the market is right now.
Here's my problem. I'm sorry, man. Look, I'm happy for Dak. Whatever, that's fine. We always, our policy, both of us, I don't reach my hands in anybody's pocket. Get your money. From Dallas's perspective, what are you paying? What services are you paying for from Dak Prescott? Because when he was there, I believe his first season, y'all went like 13-3, and that's fine. But you haven't gotten anywhere past the first round of playoffs. Yeah, you were horrible when he was gone, but what were you when he was there? Y'all were losing games when he was starting. So what are we talking about?
And you kind of have an unknown at this point too, because he's coming off of an injury.
Right. Exactly. I saw something. So that happened in the middle of the week, and then I saw like yesterday. I believe some of the linemen are restructuring their contracts to create room to make this easier.
Yeah, they must like him.
They must like him a lot.
He got a no trade clause and a no tag provision.
Correct, because they tagged him again. They tagged him as a formality after signing him so that he couldn't get tagged a third time. Yeah. And then, and you know what, Sham? When I saw the linemen repositioning their contracts, I was sitting there like, there's a name I'm not seeing on there. Ezekiel Elliott needs to give somebody back immediately. If people on the team are restructuring their contracts, he need to be the first one because he was fumbling the ball all over the place.
You know, I don't know if this is a thing, but you know how they get extra money for hitting certain like statistical marks?
Mm-hmm. Incentives and stuff. Yeah.
Incentives. Do they take away money when you suck? Like when you
no, they should. Hey man, you had 5 fumbles this year. Like, what are you doing?
37 fumbles. We got to take some money out of that.
Yeah, we want money. Those fumbles hurt us.
Can you imagine if they were contract structured like that?
Yeah.
You heard it here first if that starts to happen, by the way.
I mean, I think you have a picket line outside your house and you'll be called a scab.
It's trademarked right here. Yeah. Right here.
Yeah. Listen, send NFL players, NFLPA, send your hate mail.
Send it if you want. It's documented on this show that is official trademark.
Yeah. No. But no, seriously, yeah. Ezekiel Elliott should have been the first person in line. Give us some money back. Like, no cap, as the kids like to say. But yeah, so Dak has gotten paid. Actually, we didn't even say the number. $140 million. Yikes.
160.
160. I'm tripping.
$42 million a year over the first 3 seasons.
Wow.
$75 million in the first and $66 million signing bonus.
I'm just saying right now, that's overpayment for Dak Prescott services, man. I'm sorry. Point blank. I'm sorry. It's overpayment. So he's off the market. Russell Wilson obviously will not be going to Dallas. He's still on the market. My Raiders are still one of the teams that, although all the tea leaves are saying that we're actually going to extend Derek Carr to a team-friendly deal, keep him there, and then spread his money out so we can do some other stuff. So maybe, but we are still on his quote-unquote list, his being Russell Wilson's list. So he's still out there. Deshaun Watson is still out there. I saw a free agency report. Deshaun Watson is considering Carolina. So Carolina is considering keeping Bridgewater, but if not, they are going to take a flyer at Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson's from Georgia. That's part of the reason why he wants to he would consider Carolina because it's close to his hometown, and he likes the team. He likes the development of the team. So something to keep an eye on there. And then speaking of Carolina, ex-Carolina alum, Cam Newton, who we talked about a few times.
He rich, though.
Hey, I'm rich. Yeah, he's going to continue to be paid by New England. They signed him to a 1-year deal. Incentive laden. A lot of people feel this is more of an insurance policy. Billy B is still going to try to make a move to get the quarterback he might actually want, whether it's in the draft or through a trade, and have Cam Newton there as possibly a backup / mentor role. But if he can't find anybody, Cam Newton can suit up and start. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm happy, though. I didn't want Cam to be floating around out there if he still wants to play. And now he can tell, that little teenager that he still gets money. Yeah. I'm rich. I'm still rich. Any Eagles news?
Nope.
You know what? No news is good news for you. Any news? No. Good. All right. Sam, you know what? Before we start wrapping stuff up, you said it at the beginning when we did the preview episode. When you said we're looking kind of crazy in these streets, you had no idea how true that was, did you? that prediction turned out quite accurate.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's kind of brewing is that Zach Ertz is ready to roll.
It's crazy.
I think his bestie is gone, so now he want to go too.
It's crazy when tight end like, yo, can I get a trade? Like, get me out of here. I'm good, man. It's been fun, but we looking kind of crazy in these streets. Like Sam said,
like we looking crazy out here. They got room for me in Indy.
Hey, yo, Frank Wright called me the other day, man. I'm really considering trying to do that. Can y'all make that happen, please? Bobby out, whatever.
Yeah, but on real talk, he's like real serious about like he's frustrated. He just wants to know is he being traded or no? If not, like
I might retire. Like whatever.
I need some more paper.
Yeah. Look, man, if I don't hear a trade, y'all might see me with some papers coming in. Like, stop. That's funny. All right, well, let's start wrapping this up. NBA. Did you watch All-Star weekend last week?
I rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun.
To the boom, 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 done. I liked it.
I think we both agree it shouldn't have happened. But it's like once you get past that point,
yeah,
kind of like every other sporting event in the last year, it's like, all right, well, it's just they're going to do this. It's fine.
The format was a little challenging, though. I will say that I did not. So I almost forgot that a slam dunk contest was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then they put it they made the slam dunk contest the halftime show during the game. So that was a little weird. Because it didn't even dawn on me that it didn't happen after they did the skills challenge and the 3-point shootout. And they just went right into the game after the 3-point shootout, which Steph Curry just was like, I'm here. Y'all already know what's going to happen. Basically, I mean, he didn't say that, but it was kind of like, look, Steph Curry's in the competition. You guys, you're just here for fun. Yeah. So when the game started, it didn't even dawn on me that they didn't do a slam dunk contest, and I forgot it. Yeah. Then halftime came, and they're like, "Oh, all right, here are the contestants for the slam dunk contest." They're like, "Oh, that's right," and it sucked. So they really should have just called somebody to perform. But other than that, like LeBron's team won all 4 quarters, so he essentially won the whole thing.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as last year's.
It wasn't at all. I did, however, so this has nothing to do with the game. Have I ever told you how much I love the Canadian national anthem? It is such a beautiful song. Like,
really?
It's really great. I love it.
I can't like conjure it up in my head at the moment.
Canada,
once you say that, actually, yes. Because I hear during hockey games sometimes when I watch the Capitals. Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I love it. I love when they come out and they sing that. But that obviously that has nothing to do with the game.
I mean, yeah. But I will say I also the format threw me off quite a bit. Yes, just in the sense of I knew I was like you. I was like when we going to dunk contest, like I'm looking for the dunk contest. 3-point contest was funny because Steph Curry channeled his inner Larry Bird, where he was calling shots before they went in. That's I like stuff like that. In general, Steph, I like 2021 Steph, disrespected Steph, or a chip on the shoulder Steph, I should say. So that was fun. In general, at the halfway point in the season, I did want to point out a couple of things. So AD is still going to be out for another couple of weeks. That report just came through today. And the Lakers are teetering without him. And you like to point out LeBron James is kind of like,
he needs someone.
He does. I will say everyone needs someone.
They do. But, everyone does. Yeah, but his is brought so it's almost like a bright light shines on his more than anybody on his need more than anybody else's.
So we'll see how LeBron in his career his teams have typically struggled like right before the All-Star break in the doldrums, and then kind of picked it up right after. So we'll see.
Trust and believe. AD will be back at the right time.
Yeah. Brooklyn is doing well. Harden, everybody. Durant is still hurt though, and he'll be out for a few more weeks.
Oh, they pacing him.
Correct. So
because they're playing so well, they don't really need him right now, so they're not going to rush him back. He's going to be like AD. He's going to come back at the right time.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, but I am concerned because with him, I feel like they are pacing him, but I also feel like the injury is a little bit more serious than they think. And his injury history, sometimes Durant, I'm not saying he's like fragile or anything, but there are times when Durant's injuries like blossom into something more serious.
Well, he's only had like really one major injury though. That was the Achilles.
Well, I'll put it this way. The Achilles, yes, that was the major one, but he's been nicked up at times. And there are times when, especially like towards the end of the season, it's happened at least twice that I can think of. One in OKC and one in Golden State, where the injury went a little bit longer than it was supposed to. And it derails them. They need him. They're going to need him. Now, Harden is playing excellent, though. Excellent. Harden and Kyrie in the beginning of this season, last season of the podcast, I was hard on them. I'm still hard on them. As a matter of fact, I'm more hard on them because this is what they're supposed to do.
You're harder on Harden?
I know, right? I didn't want to say it. My Wizards. Yeah. My Wizards, Russ. Russ is playing well. But Sham, I got to say it. Russell Westbrook, I went on a rant about free throws. Russell Westbrook at the free throw line is a disgrace right now.
Isn't he in like 66%?
I wish.
It's worse than that now?
Yes. Sham, I have a knot in my stomach every time this man goes in line.
And it didn't used to be like that. I wonder what's going on.
Exactly. He
used to be pretty good at the free throw line.
It's horrible. And Sham, the misses are ugly too. It's an ugly crowd miss. He'll scrape the front of the rim. Yeah, it's awful.
Bam, right off the front.
It's like you didn't even have a chance to make that. Like I get mad at the cameraman, like, yo, take it off this angle right now. Just give me the real angle because this is terrible.
You need to go somewhere and practice beef.
Yeah, but the Wizards in general, they're on the 3-game losing streak out of the break. So I sound crazy saying this, but they are playing better. They are playing better. So
14-23. Go Wiz.
Yeah, I know, right? That's an improvement from their record. So go Wiz for real. But they're playing better. They are. They had a pretty tough schedule coming up, right?
God, 53, 57%.
Sham, I'm telling you, it's disgraceful.
Yo, he's in Shaq land.
It's disgraceful. And I saw a stat the other day. He's second. I forget who was first. Matter of fact, we were playing the person who was first. So I forget now. But Russ, since like 2000, has taken the most. Oh, it was Harden. Yeah, we were playing the net. Russ, besides Harden, has taken the most free throws, like period, out of any NBA player in like the last like 10 years or something like that. Harden is taking the most by a mile.
He's a career like 80% free throw shooter.
Yes,
like
he's totally in his own head. It's absurd.
Check out the free throw percentages for the last 4 seasons. 73%, 65%, 76%, now 57%.
Absurd. It makes no sense.
Every year before that, it was over 80%.
It makes
I wonder
no
what
sense.
That is.
It's nonsense. But yeah, so that's what's happening there. A couple other quick hits. Philly's doing well, but Embiid got hurt in the game against us. His knee looks like it got hyperextended.
Talk about somebody fragile.
Yeah, but it looked bad though. He came down and it was not something you wanted to see twice. Put it that way. Lamarcus Aldridge, he and Pop, I guess, had a meeting in their mind. So it looks like San Antonio's going to kind of step away from him.
That never, from day one, just never worked.
Yeah, it just never worked. So the thought is they're going to try to work out a sign a trade or something, but we'll see. And then PJ Tucker, Houston has been struggling completely. Even before John Wall got injured, but he is injured now. I believe they lost like 14 straight. So PJ Tucker, who's there, he basically is like showed up to practice. I mean, he's been poor. I keep wanting to call him Paul Silas Jr. and Sham, and it's so disrespectful. You've corrected me numerous times. What is his name? Silas.
Oh, Paul Silas's son.
Yes, Paul Silas's son.
Steven Silas.
Steven Silas, thank you. Steven Silas is the coach of Houston. He already had to deal with the James Harden drama at the beginning of the season. He had to come out and explain the other day that PJ Tucker, they talked, and he and PJ Tucker talked, and PJ Tucker is not going to suit up until he's asked for a trade. He's asked for a trade. So he wants to go to a contender, and they're trying to work it. And Silas basically said, we're gonna work it out. Like he's not gonna play anymore for us.
There's talks that both he and Lamarcus Aldridge could end up with the Raptors.
I mean, that's a good look for the Raptors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get some depth.
We'll see. We shall see.
So we'll see. But other than that, so we're out of the All-Star break. So final stretch for the NBA. I'm excited. I love the NBA playoffs. What you got?
You do love the NBA playoffs.
I do. 7-game series. And Sham, you and I will always disagree. First round, 7 games. I'm here for it. Let's not ever turn back.
Yeah, I'm good with the 5.
Yeah, we're never going back to 5. You got anything else?
So, somebody that was loved once before as a Baltimore Oriole has retired.
I almost forgot about
Nicholas Markakis.
What do you think about Nick Markakis?
He's hot. So I think about him.
Man, when he went to the Braves, he lit my Nationals up. I'll tell you that.
When he went to the Braves, folks around here was mad.
Yeah.
They were so mad. He was our hometown boy. Not hometown, but like homegrown, like through the farm system and everything. Yep. So
he was good for the Orioles. Mm-hmm. I wish he had stayed there.
Man, that'd be a good night. Nick Markakis, Jimmy G, and Chris Hemsworth. That'd be a really good night.
What would happen in that night? What are you, ma'am? Put your kids to bed. What kind of night would that be?
We would just drink fine alcohol and watch movies. What do you think will happen?
Oh, okay. So I could come to that night?
Sure, you could come.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll talk baseball and all that. And sports.
We'll talk sports. We'll talk
sports. Okay. They come on the podcast. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Be a good night.
Yeah.
So with baseball upon us and certain places reopening, specifically Maryland, the place that I know most about.
Yeah.
It was reported earlier this week that the Orioles are going to allow 11,000 fans at Camden Yards, which is about 25% capacity, which made me chuckle because even when it was at full capacity, they probably averaged about 11,000 fans. So I was like, you might as well just open it up to 100% because that's all that's going to come in anyway. But, you never know. The response to being able to go to a game might be a little high because of the fact that people haven't been able to attend any sporting events. So maybe they'll pack the house. So you never know. But I thought that was interesting.
I remember when the pandemic started last year and we were doing it, or we were in the middle of it and we were doing the NFL preview show, or maybe it was a show before or after. And we were talking about the stadiums opening and closing and how Daniel Snyder, quote unquote, announced that he went everybody at the games. It's like, don't nobody come to the games.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making that announcement. Now you got to save yourself the trouble of expecting people to come. Yeah. Nah, but you're right. It will be interesting to see with the vaccine going out, with all these mask mandates dropping, baseball especially, the timing of the season is matching up with basically all the states lifting their mandates. So I will be interested to see how people respond. I think not Baltimore, but other places like New York, for example, the Yankees, that kind of stuff, Boston, that kind of stuff. People are going to go to the stadium here, DC. Now, I don't know what Mayor Bowser is doing. She kind of made it sound like, hey, that's Governor Hogan, but
yeah,
we're going to slow down.
She'll be.
But I don't think she's that far behind, though. I think she's going to open up pretty soon.
She seems to do whatever he does.
Exactly.
Lately. So
he's been the leader. So.
And he is the president of all the governors, all the state governors.
Yeah.
So
the Governors Association.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to be president of something bigger than that.
Yeah, that's why he's acting mad Republican right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was acting a little Democratic for a little while, but he's like, look, I forgot who I was. I'm back.
Yeah. Yep. But anything else?
No. Episode 98 is a wrap.
98 was a good year, wasn't it?
Not particularly.
I thought it was.
Well, tell us why.
I went to junior prom.
Oh, that's so cute.
The junior prom was awesome. I had a better time at junior prom. Well, no. I shouldn't say that. Equally good time, both proms.
Yeah.
98 was your freshman year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
College?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fine.
That's cool.
All right.
Oh, 98 was the freshman dorm step show. That was fun. We lost by 0.4.
Oh, I need to see those books. Yeah. I wouldn't accept that. Yeah.
0.4. Yep.
We won our step show around here. We don't play. We won 2 step shows. Yeah, we're not playing.
And my dorm was a defending champion too. So it was a lot of pressure to come back through, and we fell just a little short.
Yeah, ours was a frat step show. And our I guess opposing frats accused us because we coordinated with Fisk. And they were like, oh, y'all brought in ringers. No, we didn't. We're all the same frat. Stop. We do what we want.
Which you brought in ringers.
No, we didn't.
You brought folks for the black school.
No, we do what we want, Sam. We're all the same frat. Just like, honestly, everybody brought it. If, on that logic, everybody had frat from outside of off campus.
Yeah, but I see what it's saying. But I guess I went to a HBCU. So
Exactly.
Our step shows did not include frat from other schools because we had enough at our school. So
Mandy step show. Yeah, we do.
I look at it a little differently.
Yeah, it's a big deal. One step show, a big deal.
So yeah, like ours were pretty much, unless we did not have a chapter on our campus, we would invite another school's chapter to compete, but they never mixed.
We brought them in.
Yeah, so, but that's cool. I would like to see the video on that because
I'm looking for it
anywhere.
Sam, I've been looking for it.
I cannot I've been looking see for it.
I've been looking for it. Y'all, I was good too. Man, I'm in practice for that too, man. That's ridiculous.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Stop Playing Podcast with Sham and Shaka. Please visit us at www.stopplayinpodcast.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom and find your preferred podcast app. Click it, subscribe. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast and on Twitter at stop_playing pod. Find us on YouTube at our Stop Playing Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe. And also email us at info@stopplayingpodcast.com if you would like to send us some ideas for the show or if you want to be a guest. And like we always say, no double dipping unless it's the podcast. Please keep your chips on the plate and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Later, guys.
Stop playing.